Here are 50 animals that are real-life nightmares. Warning: viewer discretion is advised. Chlamydococcus. This prehistoric eel-like shark has 300 needles that are its teeth. But there are actually two species of Chlamydococcus alive today. Padu. They're also called poor me ones due to their haunting call. While looking similar to an owl, patus are known for a large wide mouth used for effectively catching large insects. Solifuge. These running creeps got the name camel spider due to one myth of a rumor suggesting that they eat camels. But they don't eat camels. Number 1. And because they can't produce silk due to having no spinnerets, they are not spiders. Number 2. Despite their gnarly monster-like appearance, they have no venom in their bite. But a bite from a solifuge wouldn't feel pleasant at all. They chase people, but not because they want to eat you. They want to get some shade from the burning sun. Sarcastic fringehead. If you were to guess what animal this is, you would say that it is an alien due to unearthly appearances. Well, it is called a fringehead due to its freakish wavy filaments called cirri, and it is called sarcastic due to its extremely aggressive and territorial behavior. Sicilian. At first glance, this odd stuff looks like a large worm, with an unearthly set of teeth that would make a snake jealous. Well, actually, to you all uneducated children, it is an amphibian. So more closely related to a frog than to any reptile, especially a snake. Gharial. Oh, and speaking about reptiles, the gharial is a freaky-looking crocodilian. This 25-foot-long ancient river monster is a great swimmer, but its teeth are much thinner than those of other crocodilians, and it also possesses a long but thin snout suitable for catching fish. It was once assumed that gharials couldn't perform the signature death roll maneuver, just like some of its distant relatives like Pholidosaurs. But researchers actually found out that they can definitely pull off the death roll. Wait just a damn minute. That's not a fucking whip scorpion. This is an actual whip scorpion. Let's fucking restart. Researchers actually found out that they can definitely pull off the death roll. Whip scorpion. These creeps are highly prehistoric, existing ever since the Carboniferous. But despite their name, they are not scorpions, making them products of convergent evolution. A more fitting name for these scorpion knockoffs is vinegaroons, because they spray vinegar, an acetic acid that stinks worse than skunk spray. They have a modified pair of legs used to navigate and hunt. But even though they look fucking nightmarish, they're not dangerous. And in truth, these smelly arachnids are kept as pets. Walrus. A calf is very cute and adorable, but a huge bull walrus is actually even worse than you'd think. These chunky vampires of a seal can weigh 2 metric tons, but they can actually be a real-life version of that Frankenstein that is apparently a walrus in 2014's Tusk. See, they have been known to murder poor humans by attacking boats and bust through ice to grab their victims, while they use a powerful suction to crunch on the insides of clams. They have been reported to murder other seals by stabbing their fucking skulls, and then using their jaws to suck up the poor seal's brains.
What the hell?
Babirusa. A freaky characteristic of these prehistoric running porks is that they have 2 pairs of tusks that grow so much that they actually kill them by penetrating the skull. They use these teeth for digging and fighting. They frequently get very dirty and smelly. These ugly little piglings make even a warthog look beautiful. Anglerfish. These scary dreams have sharp needles that they call teeth, and a lantern on their head, which is actually a modified fin spine. But they use it to lure in prey for them to then catch. Well, no wonder why Marlin and Dory were horrified to see an anglerfish. Cassowary. This is a great example of a living dinosaur, having 5-inch long claws on its feet that it uses to attack opponents with kicks. It also makes a very deep guttural grunt, and arms that have black thin claws. Hamster. Well, on the outside, these are cute sweeties. But in the inside, they hide a nightmarish secret. When they yawn, they expose their teeth and cheek pouches. Gulper eel. This piece of nightmare fuel inflates itself. This is so it can defend itself and engulf its whole prey. It is likely the scariest of all eels. Alligator snapping turtle. Potentially weighing 400 pounds, this is one of the biggest freshwater turtles. But it has the strongest bite out of any small animal, generating 1,000 psi. In 2014, it is reported that the alligator snapper is split into 3 separate species. Colossal squid. Weighing half a ton, this bad dream in real life is the heaviest living invertebrate. But we do often exaggerate its size. It is strong enough to fight a sperm whale. And it has the largest animal eyes. Due to its sheer size and nightmarish vibes, it is what the Kraken is inspired by. Cane toad. Measuring over 9 inches from snout to vent and weighing over 3 pounds, these are the biggest toads alive. These rough-skinned frogs are an invasive species in countries like Australia and the USA, and many dogs have been reported to munch on one of these frogs. But cane toads are notorious for their huge pouches full of creamy poison. Because of this, they are a huge problem in Australia and the USA, particularly in Florida. Payura. 6-inch long fangs on the lower jaw definitely earned the payura the nickname of vampire fish. However, these real-life vampires can't suck blood and are harmless to humans. Black mamba. This is one of the deadliest and fastest snakes known. The name refers to the mamba's black mouth, and its bite can kill you within 30 minutes. It strikes the feet of its victim. Slow loris. These are 8 species that belong to Nycticebus. But the pygmy slow loris was once thought to be a 9th species until it got placed into its own genus. Anyways, these lorises are famous for their cute little eyes. But books can't always be judged by their cover because they also house a toxic bite. They get that venom by licking their oily elbows and mixing their saliva with that oil. The bite from one of these vicious sweeties can cause anaphylactic shock. But the most tortuous thing about slow lorises, well, other than their bite, is that they're exotic pets. Pet traders just clip the teeth off first. Whip spider. These absolute creeps are extremely prehistoric, also existing ever since the Carboniferous. Now these will definitely give you nightmares, and they have also appeared in Harry Potter. Other than whip spider, they are also called tailless whip scorpions, or amblypygids. However, amblypygids are neither spiders nor whip scorpions. Despite their ungodly, terrifying appearance, they are harmless pets. Spider. But now let's talk true spiders. Over 53,034 species of these 8-legged bad boys have been recorded, from cute little peacock spiders to nightmare-inducing tarantulas. The biggest leg span from a spider is 1 foot or 12 inches. Now most of these phobia-inducing creeps are very deadly, and an untreated bite can lead to death. However, some spiders, like certain tarantulas, are very harmless. Vampire bat. Many people believe Count Dracula transforms into a bat, but these living legends only use their tongue to slurp up their bloody drink. Because they do not have hollow teeth unlike fictional vampires, they typically prefer farm animals, and rarely go for human blood. Contrary to popular belief, vampire bats do not burn to death from the sun. Gelada. This has got to be the scariest herbivore alive. These scary monkeys live on high mountains at elevations of up to 14,000 feet. The males flip their lips open to expose their gums and teeth. This is often accompanied by a loud roar. It is so closely related to baboons that some authors suggest that geladas are baboons themselves. Amazonian giant centipede. This is the biggest centipede alive, measuring 12 inches long. It is very venomous and can take down a mouse with a single bite. These freaky dudes can even take down a whole fucking snake. Sea lamprey. This is a prehistoric jawless fish that currently exists. And you may have seen these swimming straws in Camp Laszlo. They enjoy having bloody smoothies. In order to attach to a host, they penetrate their teeth into the skin. And then when they finished drinking that blood like a milkshake, they let themselves go. Great white shark. Measuring 20 feet long and weighing 2.5 metric tons, this is the largest predatory fish alive. It is iconic for its serrated teeth used to slice flesh. People often depict Carcharodon carcharias as a maneater. However, in truth, lions kill more people annually than great white sharks do, as those killer fishes prefer to hunt seals more often than humans. Giant green anaconda. Potentially weighing over 1,000 pounds, it is the heaviest living snake, unless authors consider it to be two separate species. However, the northern green anacondas are currently considered synonymous with their southern counterparts. Anyways, despite its unsettling appearance, it is not venomous. But still, it kills its prey by wrapping around it and squeezing it to death. Even a fucking duck cannot handle this deadly hug. The pressure is like having a 9,000-pound school bus rest on your chest. Anerythus. Although called wolf eel, it is not an eel, as anerythuses are more closely related to wolffishes than to true eels. This living muppet has a bite strong enough to crush a whole sea urchin, and it has a single dorsal fin that runs from its neck to the end of its tail. Goblin shark. Yet another underwater nightmare. It earned its name from its pinkish-gray color and long snout. And even its curved needles for teeth are enough to make you wake up screaming after your sleep. Its lineage has been around for nearly 150 million years ago. Bobbit worm. These living aliens have been around for almost 500 million years ago. Measuring 10 feet long, they bury themselves in the seabed waiting for an inevitable prey. When that poor unfortunate soul gets closer, they jump scare it and then snatch it with their scary mandibles. Damn, this would give Oscar the Shark Slayer some nightmares forever. Architeuthis. These giant squids shouldn't be confused with the colossal squid, but they are often dreamed as ungodly monsters that wreck wooden boats. As the longest cephalopod alive, they can measure 33 feet long. But some unverified claims suggest that they could potentially be twice as big. They can fight a whole sperm whale. And just like the heavier squid I spoke about earlier, they are the inspiration of the nightmarish kraken. Leech. This reminds me of the fogworms from Primeval, which makes sense since, well, leeches have been around ever since the Silurian. They use an anesthetic before they get their bloody smoothie. The anesthesia is necessary so that the host doesn't feel the leech's phobia-worthy teeth sink into the skin. Then they start strawing. Fangtooth. Due to its teeth, it is also named an ogre fish. But even Shrek looks less like an ogre than these swimming awful dreams do. The teeth of a fangtooth are actually so fucking huge that it cannot fully close its mouth even if it at least tried to. That gaping maw along with those pitch-black soulless eyes would give a child haunting nightmares. Dobson fly. The adult form of this bug is freakish with a hint of prehistoric added. And even the larva form is unsettling. When they become adults, their big size makes them worse than their appearance alone. Barbed dragonfish. This deep-sea dweller right over here is a goddamn monstrous nightmare. Well, sorry for saying that, Hookfang. But hell, even the tough gobber would have the worst dreams of his life due to a spooky fish like this. Now what makes a barbed dragonfish such an unpleasant sight to see is that it has very thin oral needles. And also that it uses a chin barb to lure in its inevitable prey. This sleep paralysis demon is one of the reasons for the ocean to be mysteriously scary. And also for some people to have thalassophobia. Common raven. Potentially weighing 5 pounds, this raven is the heaviest passerine bird alive. and its wingspan can be over 5 feet wide. Ravens lent their iconic name to Raven from the Teen Titans franchise. And this specific raven, Corvus corax, has been featured on the album cover of Kings of Leon's best album, Only by the Night. However, this is one of the most famous animal lookalikes we know of, because these small but vicious dinosaurs look like a bulked-up version of a crow. They are often portrayed as a witch's pet bird, and they use their beak to shred their prey while they feast. Asian giant hornet. These have got to be one of the scariest insects that currently exist. First off, they are the biggest wasp, with a wingspan of 3 inches. And secondly, they are strong enough to even murder their distant relatives, bees. They began a huge problem by the time they became invasive in the USA, which was during the worst current year that came along, the disastrous 2020. Their painful sting have killed so much people that they earned the infamous nickname of murder wasps. Inland taipan. This 6-foot-long death noodle is every Aussie's worst nightmare. This is because it has the most venomous bite out of any snake, even more potent than the previously awarded sea snakes. A single bite is enough to delete 100 lives. Spotted hyena. Well, as a pup, it is undeniably cute. But when this dog-like cat relative becomes fully grown, it becomes a murder machine. Weighing 200 pounds, it is the biggest living hyena. But females are bigger than males even though they actually have a dick. Well, the only thing that doesn't sound terrifying is that they yeah, laugh. But this laugh is darker than cartoons made you think. The laugh is often unleashed when hyenas finish a kill. Speaking of which, their strong jaws allow them to generate a bite force of 1100 psi, allowing them to crunch on bones of carcasses. Hell, they have even been known to prey on lion cubs. Cookie cutter shark. These nightmares have teeth that look like saw serrations. When they bite their victims, they spin around to leave a rounded wound behind. No joke, but they have been known to murder the already frightening great white shark. And they were the culprits of sinking the submarines of the Cold War.
Stop being such a dud and just move! Bitch. Awesome!
Pycnogonid. Despite being called sea spiders, they are not arachnids. But they do have that uncanny appearance. Even worse though, these creeps debuted during the Cambrian, which, to begin with, had enough spooky beings. Moray eel. Now these fishes definitely give off some dinosaur vibes. But their teeth look like they're made out of glass. Morays can get pretty big. And some have been reported crawling out of water. Alligator. This big mean reptile is often confused with crocodiles. It has a very strong bite force of 2100 psi, and it can perform the death roll in order to turn its victim into food. Now, of course, the big ones from America are the scary ones, especially if you see one hissing in the sewer. Cape vulture. These flying dinosaurs are famous scavengers from Africa, using their beaks to cut pieces from carrion. Even though they feast on dead animals, they do so for a reason. They get rid of diseases. Giant tarantula hawk. This isn't a bird, but instead one of the biggest wasps alive, although Asian giant hornets are heavier. This nightmare of a wasp has one of the most painful stings ever known, but this sting is used to paralyze tarantulas. Larvae then crawl their way out of the poor spider and start turning it into a meal. Bulldog ant. Oh dear, yet another scary insect with a painful sting, eh? This unsettling puny creep stings multiple times after gripping with its mandibles. And its bite is seriously unpleasant as well. Executioner wasp. This horrifying dream has the most painful sting out of any insect, making even a bullet ant's sting feel more comfortable. Living nerves get broken down after the wasp stings its victim. Forget giant hornets. This villain is the real murder wasp. Megamouth shark. At 18 feet long, this 2,500-pound fish could be one of your nightmares. Its mouth can get as wide as 130 centimeters, and it is a fish that thrives in the very deep end of the ocean. Hickory devil-horned caterpillar. This devil of a caterpillar is the largest caterpillar alive, measuring half a foot long. But despite its horns making it seem ungodly scary, they are harmless to humans. Luckily though, it gets less nightmarish once it transforms into a regal moth.
When will this nightmare end?
Don't worry, this will end after I talk about this last nightmare. Drill monkey. The genus Mandrillus contains 2 demonic species. They were formerly thought to be a type of baboon, but their closest relative is really a white-eyelid mangabe. The face of a greater mandrill is very colorful, but inside its mouth are lion-like canine teeth that would make you scream in fear. But the lesser mandrill's face is much duller, and when you look at one yawning, well, it looks like a goddamn demon. Now I hope you can sleep well after you learned about these 50 animals that are real-life nightmares.